Are you raising financially savvy kids? Or are you setting them up for a lifetime of money struggles? Imagine, if you will, a world where every child grows up understanding the value of a dollar, understanding the importance of savings, and really feeling that satisfaction of earning their own money. Well, today we're going to explore how to make that world a reality for your family. Stay tuned to discover the best money lessons you can teach your children, starting from their very first step. If you missed yesterday's show, we talked about life insurance and the taxation of that. So if you missed it, I'm going to encourage you to go check it out. It could save you thousands of dollars in tax. Now let's start with a message from one of our listeners. Kelsey writes this: Dear Ralph, I'm a single mom with 2 kids ages 6 and 8. I have a lot on my plate raising these 2 on my own with the daily activities. I already handle it, but I'm worried. I'm not doing enough to prepare them for financial success in the future. I don't want them to make some of the same financial mistakes I've made. I spent several years trying to get back on my feet. What are some age-appropriate money lessons I can start teaching them right now? Kelsey, that is a great question. And it hits close to home for me because my mom and dad split up when I was 8. And my dad was in my life. My mom really was our primary caregiver. So I understand what you're going through. I understand those struggles. And the truth is, I'm going to share some insights today that have worked wonders for families, and I hope they work wonders for you. And before we get too far in today, I want to remind you, if you've got a question for this show, all you've got to do is go to justaskralph.com and let me know what's on your mind. Well, your question today ties right into the Bible verse I picked. So let's ground ourselves in some scripture with Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. And it says this: Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. See, the answer to our question today is it's not just about spiritual training. It applies to all areas, including our financial wisdom. So you might ask, how does this Bible verse help us answer Kelsey's question? In America, we are failing our children when it comes to financial education. We're setting them up for a lifetime of money struggles by not equipping them with the essential financial skills from an early age. So let me tell you about my client, Marty. Marty came to me a few years ago. He was frustrated with his own financial situation and the mistakes that he had made, and he was determined to do better for his kids. The truth is, at this point, his kids were just barely walking, but Marty had a vision. Marty shared this story with me, and I thought it was perfect for today's show. Picture this. It's a sunny Saturday morning. Marty's living room floor is covered with 3 jars for each of his toddlers. One of those jars is labeled spend, another is labeled save, and a third is labeled give. Now, Marty starts this process. He hands each child a handful of pennies, nickels, and dimes. And Marty got down on the floor with them and starts explaining in the simplest terms what each jar means. Marty started with, this is where we put money we want to use now. That's in the spend jar. This one is for later, he continues, indicating that was for the save jar. And the special jar, he told them, was for helping others. That's what we call the give jar. Now, at first, to be honest with you, Marty said his kids just enjoyed the clinking sounds of dropping those coins into the jar. But over time and working this exercise routinely, something magical happened, he told me. They started asking questions. They asked this question. He said, Daddy, if I put more in the save jar, can I get that big toy later? And then he asked his wife, Mommy, can we use that give money to buy food for the hungry people we saw downtown? Now, you would say that's a great lesson to start off with, but Marty didn't just stop there. As his kids grew up, so did their financial education. And by age 5, he had them working simple jobs around the house. No, this was not child labor. They earned a small allowance, but he used that allowance to teach them budgeting across all their jars. And the truth is, he told me by the time they were 8, those children were helping the family make budget discussions and budget decisions. They understood the concepts. The biggest one they understood, and Marty shared this with me, and it's the truth. They started to understand needs versus wants. Now, you might be thinking, Ralph, that's great for Marty, but I'm not a financial expert. How can I teach my kids what I don't fully understand myself? And truth is, that's a valid concern. But here's the transformation that I saw. As Marty taught his kids, he found himself learning and improving his own financial habits. It became a family journey of financial growth. And think about this for a moment. You live what you learn. And if you are surrounded by parents who don't understand how to handle their finances, and I deal with clients every day that tell me this, they'll say to me, Ralph, My mom and dad were terrible with their finances. The TV was getting shut off. There was bill collectors calling all hours. Well, see, that's the key to this whole thing. That's what Marty found. Marty found that if he refined his self and improved his financials and improved his money skills, that would just trickle down to his kids. So what was the powerful conclusion Marty came to? Well, let me tell you, this was a cool story. So Marty's oldest child turned 12. She had saved enough money that her and Marty, picture this. This kid had saved several $100s. She wanted a bicycle. So her and Marty went off to the local bicycle shop and she was able to buy her first bicycle entirely on her own. You know what else? She took a lot of time, Marty tells me, looking for that bike because she understood the value of that purpose. She understood the value of that purchase. She understood the effort it took to save it. And more importantly, Marty said this, smile on that child's face was amazing. She was from ear to ear. She had found satisfaction of achieving a financial goal. So you might be asking, how can you overcome financial illiteracy in your family? I'm going to give you a few simple steps. First thing, as Marty learned, start early. The truth is, even toddlers can grasp some basic concepts of saving and spending. If you give your kids everything, they're never going to understand the value of it. Number two, as Marty did, make it visual. Those jars are a great idea. Maybe use a clear piggy bank so kids can actually witness their money growing. I remember having one of those as a kid. Now, of course, I'm going to be honest with you. We tore into that with some scissors down the road because we wanted to buy something. Number three, I've already alluded to this. You've got to lead by example. Involve your kids in age-appropriate financial decisions. Now, listen, I'm not telling you to get your kids involved with, hey, we're struggling, mom and dad are having a hard time. That is not what I'm saying. Don't ever burden your kids with that. But there are times when you can make family decisions. Let's say you're thinking about going on a vacation. You can sit down with your family and say, okay, here are our options. Here are the costs for each option. And then you make a joint decision based on that. It's a real lesson for them, and you're going to lead that by example. Another thing you could do, number four, and this one is crucial. You've got to teach your children through experience. Give those kids like Marty did. Give them a chance to earn. Give them a chance to save. And then let them spend their own money. And don't be judgmental on how they spend it. Now, you can say to them, hey, I don't know if that's such a good idea. His daughter really wanted a bike. He took her to the bike shop. They looked at different options. He didn't share with me whether she bought the most expensive or the cheapest, but he let her make that decision because that was her own money. And number five, this is a Christian show. I'm going to emphasize this. You got to emphasize giving. Help those kids understand the joy of using money to help others. That was the coolest thing about that story when Marty told me that, was that giving jar. Because the truth is, and we did this with our own boys, when the kids were really young, we would encourage them to tithe. And remember, it's not just about creating little misers. That's not what I'm saying here. It's about raising financially savvy kids who understand the value of money. They need to understand the importance of wise stewardship. That's a big word, but kids can understand that if you start them early. And more importantly, begin that balance of enjoying today and preparing for tomorrow. Because I think that's the biggest obstacle, is understanding that what you spend today, you're not going to be able to save for tomorrow. And kids understand that. That jar idea on the floor is a great idea, and I would highly recommend that. Well, let me wrap up here by talking about just a bit of a recap. We explored some critically important teaching for kids. And like I said, you can start at an early age. Just make sure it's simple and age appropriate, like those labeled jars. You can give them age appropriate jobs. It really does lay a foundation for lifelong financial wisdom. And remember, it's never too early to start, and you don't need to be a financial expert to begin this journey with your kids. If you can spend money, you can teach your kids how to manage their money. Well, join us tomorrow as we tackle another crucial topic, and that's going to be what are 5 regrets of Americans who called it quits too early by retiring. It's going to be a must listen to for anyone thinking about their long-term financial future. So if you're considering getting that retirement decision, I'm going to encourage you to check it out tomorrow. Now, you might be feeling overwhelmed about your finances, or maybe you're unsure how to start teaching your kids about money. Well, I'm here to help you. You can schedule an appointment with me just by going to AskRalph.com. At the top of that page, you'll see a button that says Schedule with Ralph. And for just $150, I'm going to work with you to create a personalized plan to improve your personal finances. Maybe you need help boosting your business or accounting for your business. And most importantly, I'm going to help you achieve your financial goals. So don't wait to secure your family's financial future. Schedule today and let's create a legacy. That's true, a legacy of financial wisdom for generations to come. Remember this, you can sense it in my voice. My passion is to help you achieve financial success. It makes me go every day to see you living out your dreams and growing in your faith. And I am more convinced that together we can master your finances from a Christian perspective. So, as I always say when I close, stay financially savvy and God bless you.
Thank you for joining us on the Ask Ralph podcast. And with a simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to our next episode. And remember, financial issues don't have to be complicated. Just ask Ralph. The information contained in this episode of Ask Ralph is based on data available as of the date of its release. Saggio Accounting Plus and Ask Ralph Media, Inc. is under no obligation to update this content if changes occur. Applying this information to your specific situation requires careful consideration of all facts and circumstances, and any information provided is not to be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney before acting on any material covered.